Here we go, one day in Mammoth Cave National Park. Now, I had been to Mammoth Cave in the past, but this marked my first stop on our attempt to do all 63 national parks within a year. Natalie could not come with me on this one, so I went alone. We live in Nashville, Tennessee, so it was about an hour-and-a-half drive to the Mammoth Cave Visitor Center. And this was during the government shutdown at the start of October in 2025, which I'll talk more about in a second, as you'll see. But as I drove in, there were wild turkeys walking around on the grass, seeming to enjoy their morning. When I arrived at the visitor center parking lot, there were only one or two other cars parked there, which made sense because I was there around 8 a.m. and the first tour of the day didn't start until 8:45. So I made my way to the visitor center to go inside and get a brand new passport as well as a stamp. But the door was locked, so I assumed it had something to do with the shutdown. I waited outside for a couple minutes. Around that time, a national park employee was walking by and informed myself and another couple people there that there would be no tours for the day. So I went back to the car and had some breakfast. A little after 9, someone had shown up with a table laying out all sorts of information about other things to do in the area, as well as a stamp for my passport. Unfortunately, he wasn't selling any new passports, so I stamped my old passport and also a piece of paper so that when I got a new passport, I could just cut that out and put it on there. I picked up a couple of pamphlets for private cave tours in the area, and then I decided to do a hike right around the visitor center since I was already there. It was this one on all trails. The map led me through the parking lot and down a road until I hit this trail sign. There were a couple nice overlooks on this trail. Here's one of them. You can see the leaves just starting to change color for fall. At a certain point in the hike, I came to a wooden boardwalk bridge type of thing that led to a really cool cave. From here, you can't really see all that well, but the water down there is very blue. I saw some other people going down there, so I went as well. You can see as I get closer to the cave, the water has this beautiful blue color to it. I wasn't really expecting this, so it was a nice surprise on the hike. I'm not sure if the water is blue like this all year round, but I thought it was really beautiful. As the hike continued, it led to another overlook showing the Green River and the surrounding forest. There was another cave called White's Cave, which looked a little ominous. As I walked up to it, it was blocked off with some metal rails. And then at the end of the hike was Sunset Point, which I assume you could see a really nice sunset from. Of course, this is Mammoth Cave, so you're mainly here for the caves, but I enjoyed the hike. It was pretty nice. After I finished up here, I headed to the Crystal Onyx Cave Tour, which I had gotten a pamphlet for. This was not in the national park. The other cave tour I did was located in the national park, but for some reason I decided to do this one first, and it was great. There was a little gift shop area where you buy your ticket from, and they sell rocks as well as other souvenir items. Even though this tour was not part of the Mammoth Cave National Park, I thought it was the best tour I've done in the area. I had done the Grand Avenue tour in the past at the actual Mammoth Cave Visitor Center, and it was a great tour. I really enjoyed it. It was about 2 hours compared to this one, which was just 1 hour, but this one was smaller, more intimate. The guide showed us all sorts of really cool aspects about the cave and gave us different rocks to hold and touch that make up the walls of the caves. Compared to the Mammoth Cave tour I had done in the past, this cave was much smaller, and the tour group was much smaller as well. I think the Mammoth Cave tour I did was maybe 30 or 40 people, whereas this one was around 10 people. But even though the cave was smaller, there was no lack of geological features to marvel at. I tended to stay toward the back of the group so I could walk back a little bit and get some nice shots of the cave itself without others from the tour getting in the way. You can see here that we're ducking to go under this part of the cave, and hitting your head on these cave tours is a real thing, and I have done it before. It does not feel good, so it's definitely something to watch out for. At a certain point, the guide gave us different types of rock to hold on to while he shined a UV light over it, and each one would change to a different color or reveal glowing spots. I love unusual interactive features like this that teach you something you didn't know. At a certain point, he even turned out all the lights and showed how the cave would glow if you put UV light on it, but I couldn't record that part because we had to turn off all of our lights. Anyway, Crystal Onyx Cave Tour, highly recommended. My next stop was the Diamond Caverns Cave Tour, and this tour is in the actual Mammoth Cave National Park, although I don't believe it is part of Mammoth Cave, if that makes any sense. When I got there, I went inside and purchased a ticket from their gift shop, and then I explored the main sitting area for a little bit. There were some very expensive crystals there, but within a few minutes we were on our way. We started by descending down a steep staircase into the cave, and you can immediately see the difference in lighting between this cave and the previous cave tour. Certain areas are well lit, and the lights focus on certain features of the cave, but the whole cave itself is not lit up, which could be because it's just a much bigger cave, but also I think it looks really cool like this. It allows you to understand that this is a really dark place while also lighting up and enhancing certain features so that you can see them. This tour group was quite a bit larger than the Crystal Onyx Cave, but then again, the cave is much bigger, so I think that makes sense. Once again, I stayed mainly toward the back of the tour group so I could get some nice shots of the cave without a ton of people walking through. It was very interesting walking through this cave because at certain points we were basically rubbing shoulders with the side of the cave. It became very narrow. Then at other points it would open up into these vast caverns where the ceiling is 30 or 40 feet above your head. And that aspect was very different to the Crystal Onyx Cave tour where the cave hugged you a bit more. But both of these cave tours were very enjoyable, and I would highly recommend either of them in addition to the Mammoth Cave Visitor Center tours you might have already booked. And in case you're curious, here are some shots from the tour I did with Natalie in 2024. This is the Grand Avenue tour, and it really hits a lot of the main features of Mammoth Cave that you might want to see as a tourist, so I would definitely recommend that one. I have wanted to do a lantern tour, and I had one booked for this day that I made this video on, but of course the tours were canceled, so I'll just have to wait till next time. This is park number 1 in my attempt to visit and revisit all 63 national parks within 1 year. So between October 2nd of this year and October 2nd of next year. And if you stayed until the end of the video, here's a magic trick I filmed while I was at the visitor center waiting for information on my tour. You can see I have a deck of blank cards here, blank on both sides. I take 4, just a snap, and we get an ace, and another snap. They're all aces, and all the backs are red. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.